Hello. Thank you for coming today to your Friday arm balance, handstand, inversion, whatever you want to call it. You know, usually we're used to balancing on our feet as far as life goes and humans go. So it's nice to change your perspective and get upside down. There are a couple of things that definitely I know right off the top of my head that'll make you smile. Going upside down, handstands, whatever it might be, even just a wide-legged forward fold or a down dog. Those change your perspective, makes things look differently. So getting upside down makes me smile. Also back bends, opening your heart. Those make you smile too, right? It's really important to try to find different ways of changing your perspective and the way that you see things, finding extension to your heart and just being open to new things and new perspectives. So on Fridays, we work on getting upside down and changing our perspective or just strengthening the muscles that it takes and the alignments that you want to learn to protect yourself when you are going upside down or balancing on your hands, because we're not really used to that unless you've been doing it for a long time. Your body hasn't necessarily adapted that strength and awareness in your wrists and your forearms and your shoulders to do it properly and safely and efficiently is really what you're going for, what we're trying to find with changing your balance. Today, on the first day, what I have here to talk about, we're going to talk about components of handstands and crow. So that's a lot of what we're going to work towards today, just handstand prep and crow. We're going to go over a little bit of warming up because it is important to warm up your body to prepare for anything, really, especially changing it onto the hands, right? So warm up, wrist health, and also what the plumb line is, which is what we're trying to find, that straight up and down in your handstand so we can stack the weight into the bones or find a good center of gravity, so it makes it just easier to be there. Also, important things to do are strengthen the rotator cuff muscles and your scapula to create awareness and strength to prevent injuries, and also to help actively open up your shoulders. Instead of just always trying to stretch to open, it's a combination of stretching and strengthening to find this opening, to find your right plumb line, right? We'll do some core strengthening to create awareness in the hips, the core, and the shoulders, so we can try to get the best opportunity to hold your handstand, or at least try to hold it as best as you can. Tight is light in many ways when it comes to arm balances or just trying to hold your body. You ever pick up a child and they're dead weight? They're much heavier. Or your dog doesn't want to get picked up, they're dead weight. They're much heavier than if they weren't, and you're trying to be picked up, you're trying to lift. We're trying to create that lift in your body by making it tight is light. And then we'll work on some playful things on the walls and talk about crow, learn a little bit about crow today as well. And we'll cool it down with some nice stretches for the muscles that we did activate today. All right. Things you'll need for today, nothing unless you have a yoga block. Maybe that'll come in handy, or 2 yoga blocks. So this first, I'd say, month or so of all these classes, we're doing it with no props necessary because you want to make sure everybody has the things that they need. But as this time goes on, it would be important to, even if you just had like some sort of band for these classes, so we can do some strengthening for the rotator cuff. Even if you had like 1 or 3 pound dumbbells, that might help too. But 1 to 3, a light, a medium, and a heavy band, that would be ideal. We'd be able to do all the things. Plus, a couple of yoga blocks would also be a good idea to have to maybe set yourself up a little bit easier in some postures, and maybe also using these to create a little spinal extension as well, and alignment in the hips. So bands, yoga block at some point. We do have links on our cloudstudios.com/feelgoodyoga to link you to these things, so you don't have to go searching forever for them. And they're readily available all the time on Amazon as well if you're trying to find that. Please reach out if you can't. All right. Let's make our way to the top of your mat. We're going to do some sun salutations here to warm up because it is important to warm up a few things. Wrist, shoulders, hamstrings to help enter hamstrings, and also for your down dog entrance as well. So there's a couple ways to enter hamstring, standing split and down dog. We got to warm up the hamstrings in order to even get there, right? So we'll start off with that. Sun salutation A. We're going to be working for this for a little while. Let's bring arms overhead. We're trying to find this handstand while we're standing on our feet. Just turn it upside down, that's all you got, right? Shoulders away from the ears. Tailbone lengthens down just a little bit to find some engagement in the core. Lower rib cage also knits downward to the front of the hips to find this nice line from wrist, elbow, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle, all the way through. Active feet here. Let's lift the inner arch and then bring the outer ankle up and in to create a nice little bridge all the way underneath your foot. We'll exhale. Dive down, find your forward fold hinging at the hips. Keep some more weight in the ball of the foot. Maybe relieve a little weight in the heel. Plant the hands down on the floor, either bending your knees, relaxing your head, or if you had blocks, that would come in handy here as well to bring the ground closer to you. We can straighten the legs. We're feeling a little more open here. We'll plant the hands, step back, plank position. We're going to go 3 times through Sun A, so we'll take it a little bit faster the second time. Inhale, shift forward, strong hands, strong fingers, wide grip. Exhale, lower the chest all the way down to the floor. We'll inhale, flip on tops of the feet. We'll lift for Cobra Pose, first one. Tailbone lengthens, heart opens, gazing gently forward. Exhale, hips up and back. Find your first down dog. We'll pedal out the feet here a bit, stretch out the calves, the Achilles, all the way through the hamstring. It's all connected from the bottom of your foot to the calf, through the hamstring, all the way into your low back. It really changes a lot if your hamstrings are tight or open. Don't lose the grip of the ground with your fingers. Try to get more weight to the thumb and index side of the hand whenever we're doing any sort of weighted bearing exercise. Find some stillness. Inhale, tiptoe the feet all the way up, top of the mat. Exhale, find your forward fold. Inhale, gently rise up. And bring the arms back over your head. Exhale, find a cactus position. We'll lengthen the tailbone down. Try to lift the sternum up for a little baby back bend to prepare the extension of the spine. Exhale, release the hands at your side. We'll inhale, rise up, arms overhead. Find that plumb line, wrist, elbow, shoulder, hips, knees, ankles. Trying to find a straight line there. Engage your core so your rib cage doesn't puff out. Exhale, we'll find another forward fold here. Dive down, bend the knees if you need to. Find the hands planted on the floor. Long spine. Inhale for halfway lift, flat spine. Exhale, step back to plank position. So in your planks, really important, wide fingers, strong grip, thumb, index side of the hand, elbow creases forward. So a little external rotation of the upper arm. We'll inhale, gently shift forward, a little stretch of the wrist. Exhale, bend the elbows, elbows stacking over the wrists all the way down to the floor. Inhale, flip on tops of the feet for Cobra Pose. Heart opens, tailbone lengthens. Exhale, hips up and back, downward dog. A few breaths here. Drive the heels down to the floor. Don't lose the grip of the ground with your hands. Elbow creases rotate upward, shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, tiptoe the feet all the way back up, top of the mat. Exhale, find your forward fold. Inhale, gently rise up, tall spine at the top, arms overhead. Let's refine that plumb line once again. Exhale, cactus your arms, find that little baby back bend. Keep it going. Exhale, forward fold. One more time, riding through this. Let's grab both elbows, find a little more weight, lengthening your spine. Shake your head yes, shake your head no. Try to relieve some tension somewhere. Fingertips on the ground or hands. Find your flat spine, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant the hands on the floor, step back, plank position. Wide fingers, grip the ground, elbow creases forward, tailbone lengthens, engage the core, drive the heels back to engage the front of the thighs. We inhale, shift forward. Exhale, bend your elbows, lower your chest all the way down to the floor. Inhale, flip on tops of the feet. Cobra pose, heart opens, tailbone lengthens. Maybe get a little bit more, push some pressure into the hands. Exhale, hips, up and back, downward dog. Breathe it out, stretch it out. Feel some heat building. Inhale, tiptoe, top of the mat. Exhale, find a little bit deeper forward fold maybe. Inhale, gently round up. Head is the last thing to come. Exhale, hands at your sides. Samastitihi. Shoulders away from the ears. Wiggle it out, wiggle it out. I like to wiggle. Let's get loose. So I'm going to fix my fuzzy microphone. Wiggle it out, wiggle it out, wiggle it out. Maybe find a little hula hooping dance. I'm going to learn how to hula. We're living in Hawaii now. Woo. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, let's find your forward fold once again. We're going to take sun salutation B here. Inhale, halfway left, flat spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, plank position. So for these times here, we can continue rolling with those cobra poses with your chest all the way down, or we're going to start taking the option for chaturanga to strengthen the shoulders. We'll take you through this slowly. So wide fingers, strong heels back, engaging the front of the thighs, tailbone lengthens to engage your core. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, bend the elbows halfway, grazing the sides of the body. Flip tops of the feet, shoulders back. Inhale, up dog. Broaden your chest. Exhale, hips up and back. The strength of your core, downward dog. We inhale, right leg lifts, all 5 toes point down. Drive more through that left heel, that you have more weight into that leg now. Exhale, knee to chest, step through. Plant the foot on the floor for low lunge first. Let's find fingertips. Drive the back heel back, really stretch out that back hip. Broaden your chest. Lead with your sternum. Find a little bit of opening in that mid hamstring of the front leg. With the strength of your core, we're going to rise up for high lunge on Janasana. Inhale, rise. Trying to stack your shoulders right over the hips. Your feet should be about hip width apart. Bend the back knee, lengthen the tailbone a little bit more under you, and then we'll re-straighten the back leg. If doing so makes you flex forward because you're feeling a little bit too much tension here, keep the knee bent. We're focusing on posture more than that stretch right now. Exhale, plant the hands. We'll step back, plank position. Inhale, shift forward onto the fingers. Exhale, lower halfway, so your elbows are stacking over the wrists. Inhale, flip the feet, open your heart, tailbone lengthens up dog. Exhale, strengthen your core, hips up and back for down dog. Inhale, lift the left leg, put some more weight into the right heel, stretch out the calf. Exhale, knee to chest, step through, low lunge. Maybe the fingertips. You want to try to find a long, flat spine here. Back leg long, maybe a little bit of stretch in that front mid hamstring. With the strength in your core. Ready? Lift up for high lunge. Trying to find front knee at about 90 degrees. That knee right over the ankle. Tip of the knee in line with the second toe. That's the one next to the big one. Maybe you bend the back leg. Re-scoop the tailbone underneath you and then drive the heel back a little bit more, lengthening the hip flexor. Exhale, plant the hands back down on the floor. Step back, plank position. Inhale, forward. Exhale, bend the elbows halfway. Chaturanga. Inhale, open your heart, upward facing dog. Exhale, hips up and back. Downward facing dog. We'll make our way to the top of the mat. Let's step for this first one. The next time, maybe we'll try a little bit of hopping forward. Inhale, gently rise up. Strengthen your core. Head is last to come up. Arms at your side. Samastitihi. This next time around, we're going to add a little bit more on top of that sun salutation B. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, dive forward. Find your forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, flat spine, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, plank position. Strong fingers. Thumb and index finger has most of the weight. Elbow creases forward. We'll inhale, shift forward. Exhale, bend the elbows halfway for chaturanga. Inhale, flip on top of the feet. Upward dog, heart opens. Exhale, hips up and back. Downward dog. Inhale, right leg lifts, all 5 toes. Point down. Exhale, knee to chest, step through. Low lunge. We'll inhale, rise up, high lunge. Ready for the change here? Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, we're reaching forward, setting up for pyramid pose here. Reach forward, reach forward. When you can't make your arms go any further forward, you start to dive and find your forward fold here. Put more weight into the big toe mound of that front foot to protect the back of the knee. If you have blocks, this would be a great time to find a nice flat spine as well. You can also bring that back foot a little bit closer. That might give you some more stability. Right hip back, left hip forward, trying to find your longest spine you can maintain. Stretching out the hamstrings is a big component of inversion entrances. Find your exhales, find a little bit deeper fold. Inhale, bend the knee. We'll exhale, step back, plank position. Strong hands. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, bend elbows halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, flip on tops of the feet, upward dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward dog. Inhale, lift left leg, all 5 toes, point down, drive the knee into the chest and step forward for your low lunge. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, rises up for your high lunge, arms overhead. Tailbone lengthens down, try to bring the right hip forward, left hip back. Opening up to that back hip flexor, important. Ready for that pyramid. Inhale, straighten the front knee. Exhale, a little bit of a forward fold before we go all the way down. Make sure you can reach forward, and then we start to make our way down to the floor. Put more weight in the big toe mound, activate that. We'll strengthen the back of the calf, back of the leg, protect the knee. Right hip forward, left hip back, squaring off the hips best as you can. Exhales, lengthen the crown of the head. Inhales, lengthen the crown of the head. Exhales, find your forward fold. Inhale, we bend the front knee. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, plank position. Inhale, shift weight. Exhale, bend elbows halfway down for chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, hips up, back, downward dog. Strong hands, shoulders away from the ears. Drive into the heels, open up that back body. You can play with the tailbone here, lift the tailbone up, see what difference it makes in the hamstrings and calves. And you can exhale, maybe find a little bit of a rounding of your tailbone downward. Feel the difference there. If you stretch the tailbone up, a little extra hamstring in there. All right, next. Looking at the top of the mat, we'll inhale. You can step, jump, hop, float. Get yourself to the top of the mat however you feel, but we're trying to be light here, so strong hands. Inhale, gaze forward, and we lift. Gently putting the feet down on the floor, if possible. I couldn't do that not too long ago, but you practice all the time when you get there. Inhale, gently rise up, rounding your spine, standing tall, arms overhead. Samastitihi. All right, that's your sun bees. We're working on warrior twos coming up next to open up the inside of the groin, getting all the angles. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, dive forward. Find your uttanasana. Weight toward the balls of the feet. Let's take a gorilla pose here, if possible. If not, hang out. Peace finger bind on the big toe, elbows wide. Try to open your heart to find a little more weight toward the big toes and less into the heels. Maybe your heels gently lift a little bit, pulling yourself deeper, deeper here. Relax your head. Nice. Release the grip. Plant the hands. Inhale, halfway lift, flat spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, plank position. Hands right under the shoulders. Grabbing the floor, we inhale, shift forward. Exhale, bend elbows halfway for chaturanga. Inhale, flip on tops of the feet, upward dog, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, hips up and back, strengthen your core. Downward dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, we'll step through and prepare for warrior two. So heel to heel or heel to arch alignment, and we'll open up towards your left side. Gazing in between the index and middle finger of that front foot. Actively bringing that knee slightly outward in the front. So engage the outside of the right hip. That will help the knee track next to the big toe. And open up through that groin a little bit. Push into the pinky edge of the back foot, lifting the back arch, protecting the inside of your left knee. Strong, proud warrior two. Inhale, flip the right palm. Exhale, reverse the warrior. Get a little tricep stretch here if possible. Try to grab the left ear with the right hand. Open up a little bit more through that side body. Maybe even using your head to create a little more weight in the hand. Don't put too much weight on that knee joint. It should be above or below with the hand in the back. Inhale, refine your warrior two. Exhale. Inhale, straighten the front foot or leg. We're exhaling, reaching forward, setting up for triangle posture. Reach forward, reach forward, reach forward. You can't reach forward anymore. We tick-tock 6 and 12, the arms. Open up toward the ceiling with your heart. Tailbone lengthens down, protect your SI joints. Don't lose the engagement of the front big toe and the back pinky toe. Open. Want to find some more side body, straighten up that left arm overhead, open. A block would be good for the right hand if you had one. Inhale back to warrior two. Exhale, cartwheel the arms down toward the floor, step back, plank position. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, bend the elbows, chaturanga, open the heart. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward dog. Other side, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, we step through, set up for warrior two, heel to heel or heel to arch. Alignment, open up toward the right side. Gazing between the left, middle, and index fingers. Left hip activates to bring that knee a little more lateral in line with the second toe, the one next to the big one. Push into the right pinky edge, that back foot, lifting the arch, protect the inside of the right knee. Tailbone lengthens under you just a little bit to engage the core. Inhale, flip the left palm. Exhale, reverse the warrior. Don't put the hand on the knee joint, either above or below. Maybe you grab the right ear with the left arm. Open up through that tricep. Triceps do so much pushing in our chaturangas, our crows, our handstands, right? We got to keep them healthy. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, inhale, straighten the front leg. We'll shift forward, give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that. And then tick-tock, 6 and 12, open up the arms. Don't lose the pinky engagement of the back foot and big toe mound, pushing down on the front foot. Either 6 and 12, or you can try to find, what was that, 6 and 9 or 10? Just open it up, finding a nice lengthening through the side body. Inhale, we rise up with your core strength. Exhale, warrior two. And then inhale, exhale, cartwheels the hands back down to the floor. We'll take a vinyasa. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, bend the elbows halfway, chaturanga, flip on top of the feet. Inhale, upward dog, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, hips up and back, downward dog. All right, now we step, jump, hop, or whatever, dance your way to the top of the mat. Strong fingers. Gaze forward, inhale, we lift, exhale, plant the feet down, and gently rise up. That was a 10. Woo! All right. We got pretty warm there. A couple things to do, just to do some things we didn't hit up yet. We'll do a wall dog to open up shoulder flexion. So like I said in the beginning of class, hamstrings, really important in entering your handstands, but also shoulder flexion is super important in trying to find this plumb line, right? So the plumb line, what I was talking about before, wrist, elbow, shoulder, hips, knees, ankles in your handstand. But if you're standing, it goes from ear to shoulder, hip, ankle, pretty much. But we're working on handstand, so plumb line for us will be from the wrist, right? Find your wall dog. We'll find the hands about even with the shoulders. Start to walk your feet back a little bit, and then so the feet are pretty much underneath the hips. Exhaling, trying to open up through the under armpit area and opening up through the heart. So just letting it sink and melt, gravitating toward the center of the earth with your heart. Feel the difference here. Tuck the tailbone a little bit. You'll see that lengthens your spine. You have a little more stretch in the attachments of underneath your armpit versus releasing it. That might put a little bit more into your hamstrings, most likely. Remember that down dog we did that? This is different. Tucking the tailbone. We're trying to work in the shoulders here now. So scooping the tailbone under you a little bit, finding a little more heart sinking. Find flexion in the shoulders. We do a lot of extension in our life. This is how we stand. Gently tiptoe forward. Release, rounding your spine. Wiggle it off. All right, now that we got a good amount of warmed up, we'll just get the wrist a little bit more. I'll show you a couple good wrist stretches here. It's really important from the ground up, just like anything. Protect your wrists. Protect the rest of your body if you can protect your wrist in handstands. In handstands, we do a lot of wrist extension. So a couple things you want to do is strengthen the flexors. That's why it's really important to always have active hands in your chaturangas, planks, or really push-ups or anything you do. But we want to be able to stretch and strengthen both sides. So this is how we'll start. We'll stretch the wrist flexors because it's a little bit more accessible and it feels nice, right? So we'll have the fingertips facing toward the knees. You're still on your shins for the most part. Really wide fingers here. Elbow crease rotates forward. Grip the floor with your fingertips and exhale, shift more weight into your butt with keeping your palms down. Strong fingertips activate the muscles that come on this backside of the wrist. You can obviously feel it, but the more active we are here, the more that we're protecting the joints. Inhale, shift forward, sit on the knees or however is comfortable for you. Let's take a little wiggle it off, wiggle it off, wiggle it off, wiggle it off. Right, now we're gonna go to the reverse of that, stretching the wrist extensors. These are the ones that are definitely more tight just from what we do in life. It sets you up for that. Okay. Gonna be a little more intense. You're probably not gonna go back as far as you were before. Tops of the hands down on the floor, wide fingers. Press the fingertips into the mat. Rotate the elbow crease forward. Both hands, fingertips facing the knees. Try to keep the top of the wrist down as we get a little more weight into the heels. Not gonna be as much as the other one. Wrist extender stretch. From all the, push-ups, planks, typing, if you play the piano, if you ride a bike, we do so much wrist extension. So let's open it up. If you've ever had tennis elbow, this is one of the things you probably worked on a lot. If you've ever had golfer's elbow or carpal tunnel syndrome, it would have probably been in the wrist flexor situation. Gently exhale and release slowly your wrist and then knuckles. All right, gently wiggle it out here. Probably feeling a little bit of tenderness after that stretch, which is extremely normal. Even for the person with the most healthy wrist, you'll feel something there. All right. A couple of exercises we're going to do to get the rotator cuff warmed up. So with the rotator cuff, that's going to be one of the main muscles stabilizing your shoulders when you're upside down, in conjunction with your pretty much all your arm muscles as well, but your scapula or your shoulder blades. The rotator cuff and shoulder blades are two very important muscles to activate and to strengthen, to support your arm balances and help open you up, but also prevent injuries and a lot of other movements you may do with things. So you don't need a band today, but a band would help a lot with these exercises. The first thing we're gonna do, try to put your back on the wall behind you. Hopefully you have a wall. If you're in some sort of building, you probably do. All right, find cactus arms here. We're going to externally rotate. So that's trying to push the knuckles into the wall, and we'll hold for 30 seconds, right? 90 degrees, cactus arms, knuckles rotate back, we hold, rib cage knitting downward to the front of the hips, engaging your core, tailbone lengthens. Find that plumb line here. Hold it, 30 seconds, I'll count for you. 3, 7, 10, 15, 20, almost there, hold it. 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, gently release. So you'll feel that opening up the pecs as you strengthen the back, as you were talking about, right? Next, external rotation at the side. Same idea, we're just going to be doing it from the side, pressing into the wall, trying to open up. You can put the other arm behind the back to find a nice open chest. Push knuckles into the wall, elbow on the side, 30 seconds as hard as you can. Go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep going. Open up your chest. 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No resistance needed except for yourself. Other side. Left arm comes behind the back, depresses the shoulder, and opens up that part of the chest. Right elbow about 90 degrees, and then we'll press the right elbow or right knuckles into the wall, trying to activate the back side of your shoulder, opening up, but not. Hold for 30, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe, heart open. 12, 13, 14. Halfway. 17, 18, 19, 20, 10, 9, 8. Keep going. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Wiggle it off, wiggle it off. External rotation, super important, right? Now we have I's, Y's, and T's to get the scapula fired up a bit. It's exactly like what it sounds. We're gonna find almost like a chair position. So we'll find the feet right under the hips, weight into the heels, arms overhead first. We'll find your chair. Tailbone lengthens down a little bit. Open up your chest. Exhale, find a forward fold. Maybe you bend the knees a little bit more. Try to get your chest even with the ground. We'll drop the hands to be in line with the knees. Inhale, rise up, open. Exhale, lower. We're trying to find the shoulder blades doing the movement, lifting the thumbs up to the sky for 10 reps. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 10 reps, chair pose, bent over. Thumbs up overhead, drop down under control, find tailbone lengthening so you don't round the back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, look down, 8, 9, 10. Release. No weight needed for those. Why? Because it's awesome. Y is coming up next. I'll do this direction so you can see the difference in the Y, right? Find your chair pose first. Exhale, bend the knees a little bit more and find your forward fold. Hands come in front of you and we'll inhale Y a little bit wider. This is going to get the lower part of your shoulder blade. Inhale, thumbs up. Exhale, lower. Tailbone lengthens down. Find a good heart opening. Gaze at the floor. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And gently bring yourself to stand tall. T's. T's are going to be more of a squeezing of the middle of your shoulder blades together and a strengthening of the posterior deltoid. So it's that heart opening, but in a bent over position, strengthening while you're opening. Final time here, if your back is bothering you in any of these forward folds, you can always take a lunge position. That sometimes takes the low back out of it, but we want to still try to find chest even with the floor. Ready? I'm gonna take the lunge position just to show you what it looks like. You can maintain that bent over chair if that's cool with you, right? So I'm gonna find the lunge, chest even with the ground, back leg super long. We'll inhale, or pinkies up, thumbs touch. Inhale, exhale, we open. Inhale, lower, exhale, open. Gaze at the floor. 3, going to 10, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, see that T, 9, 10, and bring it up. Rotator cuff, scapula, awareness, and opening. We're gonna work on the core coming up next. Nice, good timing so far. Great job, guys. Staying with me, moving into it. We're getting to the meat or the tofu of the day here. All right, 5 exercises for the core to get that fired up, right? First one, floating tabletop shoulder taps. This is gonna work on anti-rotation of the spine and also a neutral lumbar, right? Strong hands like we've been talking about today. Find your knees right under the hips. Lift onto the toes. Have the knees just float. You might have to make your feet a little bit wider apart. Shoulder taps. Option is to just hold this position. Tailbone lengthens underneath you. Alternate shoulder taps. Hand, 10 in each. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Going to 20. 5, 6. Trying to let the hips move. 7, 8. Keep the knees low. 9, 10. Strong hand. 11, 12. Push into the shoulders. 13, 14, 15. Gaze down. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and relax. All right, nice. That's probably a pretty good burn there. Plank forearm leg lifts. We'll go on the forearms, elbows underneath the shoulders. So just taking the wrists out of it for a second. Heel drives up without extending the low back, just activating the butt, right? Drive the heel, strong leg, 10 in each, total of 20, a slight round of your upper back. In 3, 2, 1, heel drives. 1, 2, alternate. 3, 4, 5, strong core. 6, tailbone lengthens. 7, 8, smile. 9, 10, halfway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Nice. Whew, simple, but effective. Side plank hip lifts. The hips are really important in alignment, and it's good to focus on all 4 quadrants of the core. That's why we're doing hip side plank. Also a great injury prevention exercise if you do a lot of running. Let's go forearm underneath the shoulder. Pinky edge of that bottom foot presses into the floor. Option is right knee on the ground, left leg will lift, right? And we're doing hip lifts though, if you're taking this full plank position. We lift, arm up, drop the hips, stack shoulders and stack hips, lift. 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and switch it up. All right, stack elbow right under the shoulder. Feet are on top of one another. If you took that other option with the knee on the ground, you have 10 leg lifts. 3, 2, 1, lift, and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release. All right, hollow body hold. This is that on the ground handstand that we're trying to do. All right, a couple of things here we want to be aware of. If your low back is bothering you in this, lift the legs a little bit higher. We're trying to keep the low back pressed into the mat the entire time. That's the handstand straight line. No banana backing, right? That's what we're trying to get away from by doing this hollow body and core stuff first. All right, so arms overhead. We lift legs like that 6-inch leg hold, a slight lift of your shoulder blades off the ground, gaze up to the ceiling, we hold for 60 seconds. I'm gonna count for you. If you drop, you try to bring it back up or you lift the legs. That'll make it hold a little bit better. 10. 20. 30. Get through it. 40. 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, my burning core. That feels good. Whew. Find the one to unwind from that bridge hold for 30. That's to create a little opening, right? And get the glutes fired up again. Bring your knees in enough to tickle your heels. And we'll try to open up the shoulders. Palms up, find external rotation or a broadening of your collarbone, leading of your sternum, tailbone lengthens to the knees. We hold. Drive through the heels, and then isometrically try to drag the heels into the butt, activate the hamstrings more than the low back here. Hamstring glutes shouldn't really be like stiffening your low back here. Halfway. Twenty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gently release. Give yourself a nice hug. We'll take a twist just to like unwind slightly. Arms like a T or like a cactus, up to you. We'll get the knees to drop to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist to the right. Knees drop to the right. Maybe you find some opening in the low back still and the other side of your chest. I know, I usually do in these. All right. Let's give yourself a hug and then rock yourself up to a seat. All right. You're like, when is the handstands and stuff coming? We did a whole bunch of stuff already. I am sweaty. Exactly. That's the point. We want to be warmed up, ready, and open and sweaty for handstands. It helps you to be prepared and safe. All right. So we're going to do a few things before we get to the handstands. We got a chaturanga foundation, down dog foundation, just to reiterate that again. And then we'll do crow thing, and then handstands. That's our last thing of the day, right? Chaturanga is a super important thing to be aware of, strong and stable in. That's going to be a big strengthener exercise and an alignment tool, your groundwork, your foundation for crow. Chaturanga arms, right? A lot of times people get slightly injured in chaturanga just because of the awareness or not doing it as properly as they could. Okay, a couple options here. For those of you who are maybe still working on push-up kind of strength, this is going to be important to keep your knees on the floor so you can really focus on the upper body strength here, right? If you can hold a plank and hold that chaturanga or do push-ups, we can lift the knees. I'm going to do it with the knees lifted first, and then we'll talk about the knees on the ground. Right? In the chaturanga, when we shift forward, that's going to set yourself up to keep the elbow stacked over the wrist. We want to have strong hands and wide fingers here. So really wide fingers, gripping the ground with all 10 fingers, especially thumb, middle, and index finger. That's where a lot of your weight goes on to. We don't want to have much weight go on the outside of the wrist. The elbow crease forward. We inhale, shift forward, bend the elbows. Now my elbows are stacked right over the wrist. Tailbone tucks, head looking down. This is your chaturanga, right? I'm going to do a chaturanga the wrong way, one of the wrong ways, just so you can kind of see what's going on there. So one of the things that people do, you don't shift forward. If you don't shift forward, your elbows come behind your wrist. And flaring out a little bit is going to give you more stress on the outside of the wrist than you need to. Also, with having the elbows behind the wrist, you're putting more stress at the tendon at the base of your tricep, which is that pushing muscle. So you want to be able to shift forward to stack elbow over the wrist. Harder, but you're going to get strong if you do it. Option on the knees, right? Same thing. We can shift forward, bend the elbows. Elbows are stacked, but less weight. Tailbone lengthens down to keep your core tight, right? Let's play with that a couple of times. Find the plank. You shift forward. You lower. Elbows graze the side of your rib cage. And hold for a few breaths. Push back to down dog, right? Either option, on the knees or not. Elbow crease rotates forward. Thumb, index, middle finger has most of the weight. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, hold. Let's do 5 breaths. Shoulders back. Open up your collarbones. Broaden collarbones. 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Hips up and back, down dog. Hold this down dog. Let's talk about this real quick, right? So this is like a half handstand. For my hips up, that's a handstand. I'm finding a strong, straight line from wrist, elbow, shoulder, hip. The legs come into play later. Down dog is your first inversion. That's the one you should nail. We should be able to hold down dog for a while, at least 30 seconds. A minute would be a great challenge, a great place to start. Shoulders away from the ears, elbow crease rotates upward toward the ceiling. Press more weight into the thumb and index side of the hand. Tailbone lifts, heels drive down. Core engages. Inhale, release. Take a child's pose real quick. Reset, lengthen the arms out in front of you. La la la. All right. Chaturanga, down dog foundations are huge, huge for arm balances and inversions. Nail those first before you really go too nuts with anything else, right? Want to feel super comfortable in those positions. All right, crow. I'm going to teach you an upside down crow because this is the same thing as far as the core goes, not necessarily the hands. If you have 2 yoga blocks, it's also a great tool to use for this to find tactile feedback in the core, right? So what you would do, elbow on the block in some way, either long or shorter. You push the knee into the block, the elbow into the block, you create this lock here, the core is strong and tight, right? We don't maybe not have blocks, but that's also cool. You can put the elbows on the knees because that's where your elbows are gonna be on your crow position, right? Neutral C-spine, gaze up at the ceiling, press knees into elbows, elbows into knees, will hold. Point the toes because it just looks pretty. Nah, but for real though, it's a nice energetic point. Try to push elbows into knees, knees into elbows, core getting engaged, finding that crow without the weight of the hands. 3, 2, 1, release. All right, chaturangas, that's those kind of muscle strengtheners. Core, we just did, and an inverted crow. So now, let's try to put it together. We'll work on the crow. If you have a pillow or a block or something you want to put like under your forehead, or even a foam roller if you have that handy, or a box or something, right? You can always use your block as like a stopper, I guess, of some point. A lot of times you might feel kind of worried about falling on your face in the crow. That's why it's another time that's really important for active, strong hands. Your fingers or your braking system so you don't face plant, so you can keep the weight more back for safety. A couple of ways to get into this. You can start in your forward fold, bending the knees, coming onto the tippy toes, planting the hands, finding that chaturanga, kind of elbow crease forward, wrist, more weight on the thumb and index side of the hand. Lift the knees, try to put them as high as you can up into the armpits. We'll bend the elbows a bit. Look up. If you look up, it'll help you to stay up. Pick up one foot, keep the weight forward to the fingertips. If this is enough, we hold. You want to try the other side? Go for it. Keep holding. If you feel like you're able to float, look up, broaden your collarbones, lift through your sternum, core tight, make your knees as light as possible on your triceps. Look up, point the toes, and smile. See, the block would be a little more in front of your face, right? To find that if you're falling forward, oh no, boom, my head is here. This is a great place to even start a little bit. Just don't develop bad habits by always using the block because that's gonna make you go down. We're gonna try to look up and keep that heart open, flat spine to keep the center of gravity more in the middle versus falling forward. Strong hands, right? So crow position with the knees on the upper triceps. Another variation of crow is the inner thighs squeezing on the outside of the triceps. For me, I'm kind of sweaty, so I slide a lot. But if you have yoga pants on, you'll probably get better grip. I think it's a secret in yoga class. Pants aren't just for looking good, it helps for grip. Right? So what that would be, a little wider in the legs to start. Still same arm foundation. You put the knees as much as you can up on the sides of the arms and you squeeze arms in, press the elbows out slightly. Less weight in the arms, but it's more activity in the legs. Some people learn one way, some people learn the other way, but you can learn both. Same heart opening, just more groin activity, right? Try both of those. Using a block for playfulness. You pick one foot up or you pick the other foot up. Things to nail. Chaturanga hold, down dog holds, and crow, trying to feel lighter in the crow. Foundations, right? Where are we at? Perfect. All right. Okay, in the beginning of every handstand journey, The wall is going to be your best friend for your drills. It's really important to also understand how to enter and exit your handstands. So entering the handstands, we can do it from down dog, jump forward. Like if you're in a down dog, jumping back to the top of the mat in your vinyasas. Or we can also go standing split entrance. Both of those include flexible hamstrings. That's why we opened up the hamstrings a bit in the beginning of class during those salutations. So what I'll show you here is entrances and exits. Think of cartwheeling out of your exit. I always, in the beginning, cartwheeled out of my left hand that way, right? Cartwheeling out of the left hand, pivoting off the left, cartwheeling out. You might be somebody who cartwheels out to the right hand. It's whatever you really feel comfortable with. Generally, whatever shoulder is more stable. My left shoulder is more stable, I guess, even though I'm kind of right-handed. Things to not do in the beginning, especially unless you're extremely backbendy and flexible. We're trying not to backbend out of your handstand. That's why we're having a wall here to find confidence. The safe zone is going back toward that front body to come down. If you backbend out, you can hurt your low back by slamming onto the floor. Also, the wrists or the shoulders get extreme flexion in the shoulder and an extreme extension in the wrists with falling into an Urdhva Dhanurasana or that upward facing bow. Unless you're like really awesome at that, please don't do backbending out of your handstands until you're really comfortable with gently coming out of it, right? So, entrances. Make sure the wall is stable. You don't put holes in the wall. Make sure there's no glass mirrors on the wall, please. We don't want any crazy things happening like that. And if it gets a little dirty, you can just take some magic eraser and erase it later. Okay, down dog entrance to start. Let's use this wall because it's better for your view so you don't look at my butt the whole time. All right, when we're coming into the handstand, your hands will generally be about shoulder width apart, super strong fingers. Downward dog to start. Sometimes this one, it's harder to get that stacking of hips over shoulders, but we're working on it. Just like stepping to the top of your mat. You inhale, gaze forward, bend the knees, exhale, and the next inhale, we pop. Try to stack hips over the shoulders. That's what's gonna get you to gently go on the wall. Once you're there, I don't necessarily like both feet on the wall the whole time. Maybe you take one off so you can try to find that plumb line in one side. If both feet are on the wall and your hands aren't touching the wall perfectly, you're always in that bit of a banana back position, right? So I like to have one foot off the wall. Maybe you can look up and gaze at the toes. If you're not even here to like be able to feel like I'm comfortable doing this, we're just trying to hold with your feet on the wall for as long as you can. Core strength, strong elbows, push away from the ground. And then when you come out, gently, one foot stays on the wall, other one comes off. You'll notice, we always forget, even me. After your handstand, you want to go into a child's pose. If not, you might get dizzy. After handstand, go into child's pose before you come back up again. A lot of times we get so excited about being upside down that we're like, whoa, yeah, I did it, right? All right, so that's your down dog entrance. Standing split entrance. Exactly like it sounds. We warmed up the hamstrings a lot in the beginning of class, so we're gonna try to utilize that here, right? Standing split entrance. Hands down on the floor. We're trying to stack the hips over the shoulders. So one foot on the floor. I'm going to pick my left foot on the floor. My right foot will come toes to the back of the heel. Strong fingers. Don't let your elbows bend. Elbow creases forward. Gaze forward slightly. On the top of the left toes, right foot helps to swing you up. Right? This is where you don't want to make holes in the wall. Same idea. Try to get a good swing up. That's how you're going to get there in the beginning. Eventually, you'll be able to swing up with slowing down, so you won't need a wall. But right now, this is what we're going for, right? You can do knees into the chest, feet on the wall for another exit, tuck, and we come out, right? You probably won't be doing cartwheel exits on the wall because you can come out in that safe zone in front of the body, right? But if you were to do cartwheel exits, make sure nothing important is behind here. Right, so I'm gonna get up on the wall however I want to. Maybe I'm gonna try to down dog again. Look forward, inhale, we jump, right? I'm in the handstand. I would cartwheel out to the left. You wanna pivot off that hand so you don't keep the wrist in the floor and twist it, right? So let's try that again. Pick whichever one you want. Either down dog entrance, inhale, bend the knees, jump forward, try to get the hips stacking over the shoulders because that'll take your feet to the wall, or standing split entrance. Up to you. Play with them both. Get comfortable with one before you really switch it up too much, right? You want to get upside down. That's most important. However you get there, just do it mindfully. Strong hands, elbow creases forward, push into the elbows. Don't want to bend the elbows. Hold for as long as you can here. Core tight, toes point. Try to squeeze your legs together. Tailbone lengthens up toward the heels. Maybe you bring in the knees now. Let's lower yourself down. Child's pose. A few breaths. Let the blood pressure meet itself again from going upside down. And let's gently round it up. A couple of stretches to finish it off. All right. Sleeper stretch. Good rotator cuff stretch here. So you can use a pillow of some kind, side of the head, or your foam roller or a block or not. If you don't have anything, you'll still be fine. But find something for next time. Shoulder tucks underneath you. You're sleeping on your side. Shoulders are stacked on top of one another, and so are your hips. Elbows at 90 degrees. With your left hand, grab the right wrist. That'll push your hand down into internal rotation. Think of this as a bind prep, like if you were prepping for extended side angle bind or bird of paradise or a whole bunch of other things potentially. Stretching that rotator cuff that we tried to strengthen in the beginning and got fired up a lot in the planks and your handstands. So things to practice. Sun salutation warm-ups. Some core stability and shoulder flexion. That's the arms overhead stuff. Crow and handstand wall holds. Get strong, get stable, get comfortable with being upside down. Make sure you come into a child's pose after your handstand so you don't get dizzy, because you will. I don't want anybody falling from low blood pressure. Inhale, release that stretch. We'll come to the other side. Stretch out the other rotator cuff. So internal rotation of the shoulder to stretch the external rotators. Right? Stack or plug the shoulder in underneath, lock in the joint, 90 degrees at the elbow, hip stacked, shoulder stacked, and we'll internally rotate. Right hand pushes the left wrist down. The shoulder's gonna creep up toward the ear a little bit, so relock it in. As you press down, the shoulder wants to pop up. Don't let it happen. Exhale the tension. Changing of perspectives. Big shifts happening all over the place. Make it start with you. Let it spread to everyone. Let's spread good things. And gently inhale to release. Let's roll onto your back. Just give yourself a little bit of a hug here. Try to grab both sides of your shoulder blades underneath you. And getting a little neutral stretch here for those posterior shoulder muscles. And same thing, other side. Just switch the grip. Nice big hug. Give yourself a big hug. You deserve it. Let's release for a little mini Shavasana. Let everything that we did today sink into your body's memory, your nervous system, getting used to doing something different on the hands, learning a new proprioceptive exercise and creating that body awareness. I think one of the most effective ways to prevent injuries and increase performance is to increase your awareness of yourself. All this exercise, all this movement, all the things you do for yourself to benefit yourself is an exploration of yourself. We're all different. We all find different ways. This is just my way that I've assimilated from past experiences and meetings and many, many hours and hours and hours and days and months and years of practice. It's a lot, but that's why I love to spread it. We teach, we learn, we teach some more, but we're always a student. No matter how much experience you have. Keep a beginner's mind, and you'll always succeed. Gently roll on to whatever side you're more comfortable with. We'll press up with the right or the off hand to an easy, comfortable seated position. Thank you for joining me today on our first installment of your road to inversions. Practice every day, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's a little warm up and a go up on the wall. That's how I did it. If you can't do an hour or an hour and a half, whatever this turns out to be, even 5 minutes or 10 minutes will add up over time to reteach your body to find awareness and just chip away. And 1% every day is better than no percent any day. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a student. And thank you for letting me teach you what I have accumulated through my life for this. So I'm extremely grateful to have you here today with us on our journey to feel good. Check us out, cloudstudios.com/feelgoodyoga. We got on demand, we got live, we got HD now. The first few classes weren't, so now they should be because we figured out technology, right? Also links on the top of our homepage there. We'll link you to bands, blocks, and such. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to reach out. I would love to understand what you're feeling through this, and so I can make this as best as possible for you. Namaste. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy your weekend if this is Friday for you.